man, I'm trying to still gain my bearings. Like, oh my God, I'm not dead. And they climb out, and he reaches his hands out. The black guy, he grabs my arm, and he pulls me out. And when he pulls me out, I stand on my feet, and I walk out, and I look at the truck. And when I do that, everybody around me starts screaming. I'm trying to figure out, because traffic is stopped on 95 North, traffic is stopped on 95 South. Everyone has stopped. Everyone is outside their cars. And I'm trying to figure out, why is everybody looking at me? What's going on? And Sister Rose said, "You Pastor Ardel." I said, "Yes, ma'am, I am." And she said, God did it. I said, "Ma'am," I said, "Why all these people looking?" She said, "You don't understand what your truck just did." She said, "What your truck just did is not even possible. It shouldn't have did that." I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "I saw you when you were off the road. The girl stopped in front of you, and the girl was there. She was there crying, and she was like, 'So I'm so sorry, I got scared.'" And she said, "When you came back on the road," she said, "your truck immediately started flipping." She said, "And it was flipping towards 95 South." She said, "Oh my God, if he go over there, he go down." She said, "I started praying." She said, "On the third flip," she said, "I tell you no lie, on the third flip, your truck was facing this way. On the third flip in mid-air, your truck turned completely around and started facing backwards." I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Your truck was facing this way. It flipped around and started facing the other way." She said, "And when it flipped and started facing the other way, it started flipping back the other way." I said, "What you saying ain't possible." I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "No, I promise you." She said, "Everyone stopped because we were so amazed." She said, "Then I looked where I was, and I was in the same grass I started out in." I'm like, "How in the world did I end up in the same grass I just left? If I'm flipping this way, that defies Newton's law. Newton's law say everything will continue motion until something stops it." But it's almost like as I was flipping, God thumped my truck, flipped the truck around, and I flipped back the other way. And I didn't have a scratch.
I was going to say that you went to the hospital. First of all, Pastor Ardel, you didn't want to go to the hospital.
I didn't want to go to the hospital. My mother, who drove up there, started walking down I-95, speaking in tongues, talking to Jesus. And she walking down I-95. She like, "You go?" I said, "No, Mom, I'm fine." She said, "No, you're going to the hospital." She said, I expect to come up here and see my son dead." When she saw the truck, she said, "I expect you to be dead." She said, "But I went to the hospital. The doctor's checking me out, and he keeps pushing and pushing and doing this and doing this." He said, "No pain." I said, No, sir, no pain. I'm good, no pain." He's like, "You ain't got no cuts. They wiped me off." He said, "You're not bleeding. You're not doing this. You have no pain." He said, "I don't understand." I said, "What you talking about?" He said, "Well, the firemen told me what happened. They showed me pictures of your car." He said, "I do this for a living. I do this every day." He said, "People with actions like this, they die." He said, "Not only you're not dead, you don't have a scratch on your body." He said, "Oh, you lucky." I said, "No, sir, I'm blessed."